All right, everyone, remember a few days ago when it was gleefully reported on that Hillary Clinton was going to be a part of the midterms? She's going to doing some campaigning, coming out talking, doing the normal thing, which is, oh, Trump bad, us good, boiling things down to the most infantile fucking possible level that you could think of. Hillary Clinton and Bill, though, have become less popular over time, and it turns out that some candidates are shunning them. Now, I'm not surprised. Let's say that I was running, and I'm a Democrat. I certainly want, a majority of the female vote because I'm probably not going to get a majority of the male vote. Unfortunately, there are enough sexists in the world on both sides for it to break down in a semi-dichotomous manner. So I'm targeting the female vote. I'm going to say the glass ceiling and, wage gap, all the typical wedge issue bullshit that the Democrats trot out. They're not even right. I mean, it's not true most of the time, but it works to some degree. No last election aside with female voters anyway. So it works a little bit. You got to use those wedge issues because you can't run on taxes. At this point, you can't run on the economy at all because Trump is beating you into the ground. You can't run on foreign policy. You can't run on immigration outside of the Southwest. That leaves a lot of candidates with a very slim platform of pickings to choose from. Would I want somebody associated with Weinstein? Especially, would I want even Bubba Bill, formerly very powerful name within the Democratic Party? Would I want somebody who has been slightly abandoned by even the lamestream neoliberal media, thrown under the bus in the wake of the Me Too movement? Would I want him to come campaign for me? The answer is probably no. Now, if the demographics are very, very different, if the demographics of my state are basically, well, I've got to pretend to be a religious Democrat, and I don't really care about the sexism wedge issue, maybe then it's okay to have a Clinton aboard. Otherwise, Chelsea Clinton would be the closest thing you could have, and she's so boring and poor at speaking, why would you want to? Even other Democrats, you read the DNC emails and, oh, Chelsea's a spoiled brat, she's got no idea what she's doing, she's probably embezzling money, she's crazy, she's just like her mother, only less talented, I guess. Maybe even less willing to backstab people, and that's why she hasn't succeeded as much in life as her mother did. She's basically a coattail rider just like Hillary. When you really think about it, Bill was the talented one. Hillary Clinton just basically did what Bill was doing, doubled down on the bleeding heart economics and said, hey, I have a vagina. That's how she ran both times for the presidency. That's why she lost both times. That's why, thankfully, at this point we can say with certainty Hillary Clinton will never again be in the White House unless she's talking with somebody else who's the president at the time. She's not going to be holding the highest office in the land. She probably won't ever be in any political position. We got Mitt Romney trying to go enter the Senate, and Clinton's just like, well, I'm past that at this point. I think they're exactly the same age, which is hilarious. But Mitt Romney, at least he can still stand up on a hot day without collapsing like a sack of potatoes and then having to be very, very visibly airlifted, into the van, hauled like a sack and then driven off at high speed. Nope, nothing to see here, folks. Just a little tired. Oh, yeah, she had heat stroke, but, nothing to see here. Oh, yeah, she also had flu. Nothing to see here. Oh, it was pneumonia. Nothing to see here. Everything's totally normal. Don't worry. No, Hillary Clinton's one of the least likable Democrats. People want, Kucinich aboard. He's running for, I think, what is it, governor of Ohio or something? He's running for a governorship. And he's crazy. He's totally far left, but he's also an anti-war leftist. One of the few in the Democratic Party, actually, believe it or not. Bernie Sanders, he's getting rocked by this Russia bullshit now under Trump too, because now all the Clinton fans are doubling down on what they never should have done, which is antagonize all the Bernie Sanders supporters. That quarter to third of the party that wanted Bernie Sanders already felt slighted and then they insulted them over and over. They're doing it again because of Mueller's stuff. It's a free-for-all. It's a political free-for-all. This is more exciting than the run-up to 2016, other than Trump hasn't come out and made a dick joke on the live debate stage yet. All we need is for Trump to start getting more involved in things, and it'll be total chaos. It'll be so great. But yeah, I wonder why people wouldn't want the Clintons campaigning for them. It's basically for the same reason that Republicans, in the wake of the Bush era ending, they didn't want George W. to come campaign for them. Obama's actually been slightly in the same boat. There are people who have very visibly not wanted to be around Obama. They even did that during the 2010 midterms. When it looked like the Republicans were kicking ass when the Tea Party rose up. A lot of these Democratic individuals, incumbents especially, that were being challenged by powerful Tea Partiers, backed as it were by that Republican, at the time, corporate money. They said, no, Mr. Obama, please do not endorse me. Or endorse me, but do it quietly. Don't come campaign for me. Only a few people in relatively safe blue districts wanted him around them. And even then, I think a couple of them lost anyways, too. Obama shows up, their support goes down. They quickly learned it wasn't a great idea. You don't always have a situation where the person who came before, the big kahuna of the party from the last era, is popular enough to really do anything in an election. In these midterms, the Republicans are beginning to draw even with the Democrats on the generic ballot. Not that that really mattered. They have a number of seats that are totally safe, that they barely even have to campaign for. They're in solid red districts that Trump won overwhelmingly. They're not going to lose those seats. The map favors them. The Democrats have a 2-to-1 problem of having to defend incumbents. Everything favors the Republicans right now. There is no advantage for the Democratic Party anymore. Trump's approval is ticking back up. The economy is still going well. That foreshock, which is probably what it was honestly on the stock market, probably doesn't come to fruition before the midterms. So at least there, the Republicans are probably safe. No, I don't see any economic downturn looming. I see it as a miniaturized correction. It's going to take probably a few years before it begins to falter again. You'll see less growth, I think. You'll see more of a stagnation, but the economy as a whole will continue to surge ahead. That's really what Trump needs, Main Street to recover. And it is. It's recovering. Jobs are coming back. Some of them are more of those middle class and working class jobs that were lost in favor of minimum wage jobs, which was the Obama recovery. That's what people didn't understand. When they made the argument of continuous job growth, greatest history of jobs growth in our country's existence, it's wonderful. Yes, but those are shitty jobs. Adding a bunch of McDonald's and Walmart positions does not help the economy. It's on life support. Finally now, in the end of Obama, in all honesty, towards the end of Obama's final year and now into Trump's first year, you've had more of an actual recovery, but Trump is the one that's carrying it to the proper locations. Small town America, especially within the Rust Belt, the parts of the country that are hurting the most. He's going to do fine in the Rust Belt. If this continues, the Republicans won't have to worry about several more of those seats that right now only lean a little bit red. Now, that's contingent upon Mueller probe comes up with nothing. And trust me, it looks more and more like I'm right, and that'll be the case. So the Democrats might even suffer there. The Democrats don't actually form around a strong central candidate. A potential 2020 juggernaut. Right now, they don't have any. So, the Republicans probably don't need to worry too much about that. The big thing the Republicans need to do is push more regulatory reform, get rid of as many as possible very visibly. They do need to do something pro-gun at some point. I mean more than Trump just refusing to sign a couple of Obama-era proposals. I mean actually repealing some legislation. Trump should sit down with Rand Paul for a couple hours, figure out a couple ways that they can throw some bones to the NRA. That would be a great thing. Third, probably more tax reform. One of the biggest things that I wanted to see in tax reform is an end to the self-employment tax. Because it's pointless for someone who's just, single individual entrepreneurial, it's really a burden. That should be eliminated or at least reduced for that specific class of people that are taking self-employment income. If that's your only form of income and it's under a certain threshold, there shouldn't be any additional tax. It should be taxed as normal. I don't know why they don't actually do that right now. Probably because they're trying to keep people from being totally self-employed. That probably means the government makes less in taxation because you're cutting out the middleman, the rental class, essentially, of employment. But Trump's doing fine. The Clintons, meanwhile, are not doing fine. Hillary Clinton is less popular than Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump, for a while there, was fairly unpopular. He's ticking up now towards mediocre approval, and it's survivable. It's never been total collapse. It's never been Bush post-Katrina. It's never been Jimmy Carter during the oil shock period. It's been better than others have had it, and still survived, by the way, politically for some time. Trump is recovering, which was expected. He'll be fine. The Clintons do not get invited to as many parties as they used to. Back when they were more popular. Back when the Democratic Party could ignore the glaring problem of Cenk's sexist blog from the past. Harvey Weinstein, Epstein's private island, and the fact that Bubba visited a number of times, along with other people who have been named in allegations lately. I wonder why that is. No, the fact is that you got a lot of perverts within the Democratic Party, and so those people who are associated with them directly and in some cases married to perverts, They're not getting invited to go speak for people who are in districts where, the female vote is important. The youth vote is important. This is the problem with the neoliberals. They were entrenched so long and they got so corrupt and so dirty, and their misdeeds just piled up and became more and more difficult to hide. All shit gets let loose at some point. It's no longer possible to hide from the lay voters, the fact that there are crummy people within the Democratic Party, and they have to take ownership. Like Franken has to go. Conyers has to go. I would say the Republicans are going to have a problem with, again, for like the 5th time, they need to kick Farenthold out. Not just investigate. You already know that he misused funds to cover up for his own allegations in his own civil suit there. Fire him. Get rid of him. Tell him don't run again. Tell him resign, keep your pension, otherwise we're going to kick you out of the Senate. That's what they know, or House. I can't remember which one he's in. I believe he's a senator. Doesn't matter if you lose that seat. Trust me, you'll lose more seats if that becomes a main platform for the Democrats to say, oh, the party of rape or something. Yeah, that'll be a good one that they can score points on. Don't give them the capability. Jettison one person now or lose 3 or 4 down the road. That would be my strategic advice anyway. But what do I know? I just guess these races correctly, unlike Karl Rove, who gets 7 figures from these idiots in order to fiddle around with his whiteboard, cook the polls, and then tell them, don't worry, Mitt Romney will win. It's very funny. Those are the people that get taken seriously. Is it because of their degree or because of their suit? I'm gonna ask that open-ended question there. Have a poll on that at some point. That's about all. Peace out.